I just finished my exam in ISSA corrective exercise specialist course. I want to summarize the information in this course that I really benefit from. I used to read and see videos about the corrective exercise, but going through this course is totally different. I'm orthopedic doctor, so I have a good background about the real injuries, which limits the active lifestyle of people who are in sport. There are hundreds of diseases and injuries which may affect athletes because of their exercise. This course will not deal with these serious injuries and illness. Alternatively, your client should first get cleared from any medical problem before the start of the corrective exercise. One individual wants to improve his fitness or just lose some weight. The common scenario is as simple as attending a gym at his own responsibility. Rarely he will hire a personal trainer to help him. Some people will develop a serious injuries in muscle, tendon, and joints. This will need special medical care. On the other hand, others may get painful movement limitations, which will force them to stop workouts or push them to more serious injury if they neglect the problem. This is why it's very important to have a tailored exercise plan according to your condition. It's not an overestimate if I say that most people have physical restrictions ranging from kyphosis, anterior pelvic tilt, varus or valgus knees, round shoulders, pronated feet, and long list of inactive muscles due to modern sedentary lifestyle we are all living through. And most of those people are unaware of their restrictions. Let's begin the steps of correcting those limitations according to this course. First, you need to analyze the movement of your client while doing compound upper and lower exercises. Then take your time to think about the compensations you saw and possible causes of those compensations. Compensations cause are due to one of three: poor mobility, poor strength, poor motor control. Now in the same session you will start your first correction using external cues. What's the meaning of external cues, when to use it, and how much can this make a difference? Imagine that you have a client who do the workout in a bad form, and this is simply because maybe he didn't know the right form of this exercise, or maybe he think he's doing it right, which is common among not a few numbers of athletes. The right answer in this case is just external cue. External cues are the order to the client to get better form during the workout. With this simple way, you just finish the first step of correcting his exercise. With time, the nervous system will build a new right program, and he will be able to do the exercise in the good form unconsciously. What is the advantage of the external cues? It is a simple way to correct the problem while it's happening and just some orders like keep long spine, smash the ground with your feet, extend to the end, tuck your chin, peer down, keep your tailbone as high as possible. Also, the client will not leave his bars, dumbbells, and kettlebell away and waste his time doing stretches and correctives which are not building strength. Although this step is so simple, but it have a big impact when the client's problem is only about the awareness of the right form, or if he is used to do the exercise in a bad form. Sometimes the problem is more complicated and the client cannot get the right form. For example, he is unable to squat with neutral alignment of a lumbar spine, or he cannot go down without losing his floor contact with his heels. Now it's the turn of the next step of the corrective exercise, which is restore alignment and stability. This is your next step of correcting the physical limitations of your client when external cues alone cannot correct for his form. Why and when to use this exercise? First, why? Because if the human body is out of alignment, it can affect the entire body and disrupt the normal movement mechanics. like the rule of intra-abdominal pressure to stabilize the trunk and the normal neuro connection between the brain and body. The low stress condition of the body, which is important for the process of motor learning. When to use this? Again, this is the second step after external cues. It's also your first step as a corrective exercise specialist, not as a personal trainer. What to do? We will do 5 steps. First, learning him diaphragmatic breathing. Second, teaching him to bear down, or medical term as training, to increase the intra-abdominal pressure which supports the trunk. Third, pelvic alignment correction. Fourth, facilitate trunk stability. And fifth, posture stability with posture stability hold. How we can do this? If the external cues alone fail to eliminate his pain or to get him in right technique, you will learn him diaphragmatic breathing and bear down, then repeat the problematic exercise to see if it's corrected or no. If not, take the third exercise and repeat, then the fourth, and so on till the fifth exercise. What's the advantage of this? Or better question, why choosing this step next? Because it's the second most common causes of limitations and take the client just 15 minutes out of his workout program. When this is not working, take him to the third step, which contain more complicated exercise with 17 exercises that all have the same rule, activation of underactive muscles. What is the activations exercise? You will choose some of these exercises to activate underactive muscles according to your movement analysis you did before. The general rule here is to correct pelvis and trunk, then choose between neck and shoulders or hips and feet according to the location of the problematic exercise. So, if your client have pain during shoulder exercise, you will try a pelvis and trunk activation, then try the problematic exercise again. If not improved, try the neck and shoulders activation, then repeat the problematic exercise again. If the problematic exercise in lower extremity, you will try pelvic and trunk, then repeat, then try the hips and feet activation and repeat. What is the underactive muscles? It's the muscles that was neglected by your brain due to poor posture or wrong form workouts. The course gives you the list of the underactive muscles and there are 17 corrective exercises to correct them, which are: first, the trunk. The inactive muscle in the trunks are obliques, lats, and diaphragm. The activation exercise are hard style plank or modified side plank with many bend. The second is the pelvis and the pelvis, abductors and external rotations. And the activation exercises are using mini band for lunge, squat, deadlift, side walk, and monster walk. The third one is the shoulder and scapula. And here the inactive muscle are external rotators, traps, rhomboids, serratus anterior. The activation exercises are elbow wall walk, plank roll, downward dog, and Y rise over Swiss pole. The fourth is the feet. The weak muscle here is the posterior tibialis. The activation exercise are tactile feedback of a pin placed in the fallen arch during squat and deadlifts. After all those exercises, if your client still have limitations, you should go through the last and most complicated step, which is the soft tissue assessment and correction. It's still the least effective correction. Why? You will use up to 22 exercises. Most of them need assessment before and long time of practice along with lifestyle correction. It's still the least effective correction. If your client failed to overcome his limitation through all the last step, it's mean he is complaining of more serious problems, which is soft tissue limitation, like stiff tight muscles, which developed over years of poor posture. So first, you should assess which muscles are tight and try to stretching it using Lacarosse ball or foam rolling. Assessment here because it's wasting of time to stretch a normal mobile muscle instead of strengthening it. The course addresses two most common postural deformities and stretches needed for each one. First one is the upper cross syndrome, which is due to tight suboccipitals, upper traps, levator scapula, and pectoralis muscles, along with inactive deep neck flexor, rhomboid, serratus anterior, and lower traps. The stretching drills are Lacarosse ball to stretch the suboccipital, stretching the levator scapula and upper traps with holding in stretch position. Also thoracic spine foam roll or T-spine rotation, chest opener, and bull roll for the tight pectoralis muscle. The second one is the picture of the lower cross syndrome, which is due to tight hip flexor, lumbar extensor, and hamstring with inactive abdominal and glutes. The stretching drill are contract relaxed stretch to the relaxed hip flexor and single leg thrust to strengthen the glutes, along with cat camel stretch and hamstring stretch if needed. Okay, this is the cat camel. As we see here, taking all those drills will take the client away from fitness workout, so he will not gain any strength benefit of doing these drills. Although it's very important to not neglect the tissue limitations like upper and lower cross syndrome, because any deformity, if not corrected, it will stop any physical progression of the client, and the more important, it will push him to more complicated limitations. That was the last step. Now let's summarize everything. Corrective exercise start with simplest way to correct the problematic exercise with external cues, which have a great impact to improve the technique while exercising. If this not work, try to restore his alignment and stability with 5 simple exercises. If this not work, you should try to activate the inactive muscles of the trunk and pelvis and or of the shoulder and feet. Most of those exercises are not far away from his normal routine of his compound exercise. Last step will be through stretching drill to the stiff muscle along the body after assessing where is the problem, which need patience and postural adjustment during the daily life to get corrected.